some exhibition games for Richmond, but he's starting tonight.
Yeah, again, it shows the depth that Lee Calishaw has. As we talked earlier, there's some of the guys that for Richmond that are injured. They don't have a whole lot of guys on loan from D.C. tonight. So, Alex Caskey is another one of those guys that's going to need to play well for Richmond this evening.
And Caskey gets the ball ahead. There's the ball played, trying to get through two defenders, but Harrisburg played it well. And the City Islanders now on the attack. And Asante came over and cut off the path as he stepped in front of number 8 that time. That's Burrill. So now possession for Richmond. Into the box. And a battle coming up with his Delicott still in play. Put it into the middle and still loose. Delicott tried to send it back to Shea Spitz, but Harrisburg got in the way and knocks it out to Vercoloni. Here's Vercoloni for Richmond. Spitz right back to Vercoloni. Luke, nice drive going to the end line. And the cross, it's still in play. And a shot, and a goal! Oh, I missed it. I thought it was a goal. It was a beautiful setup.
Did not miss by much at all. I tell you what, that was all. And all that started with Matthew Delicott kind of coming up with the ball and making something out of nothing. And Harrisburg wasn't able to finish it there. And some nice work, nice slashing run by Luke Vercoloni there. And just very unlucky for Richmond. I believe Davis wants that one back.
Boy.
Absolutely, and the Harrisburg defender kind of came up a little bit lame on Luke Vercoloni's run. He got sold for a short fake, a fake cross, and Luke continued to go down to the end line and put a nice little chip cross to the back post, which Jason Yeisley was able to head back to George Davis IV, which should have been a goal. In all honesty, it was harder to miss that at that point than it was
in my eyes, it was.
Mike thought it was a goal.
I apologize. My apologies, folks. I really thought that was leading up to a goal. I thought it was a psychic. Man, what happened? Here's Roberts. I apologize. Off to Vercoloni, and he'll play it back to Willis. And the ball played wide. Here's Gorez now off to George Davis IV, dropping it back now to Yambi. Again, Richmond possessing.
And that's one of those where if Richmond had scored that really, a team that's been struggling like Harrisburg, I think that would have been really difficult for them. And it would have given Richmond a lot more confidence.
Yeah.
So,
and you can tell a little bit of the difference here of what Richmond's done in previous games compared to what Richmond's doing this game. They're almost doing what they want at will. They're spreading Harrisburg apart. They're able to kind of pick them apart. But still, Richmond isn't 100% clean in their possession in their own end. And Harrisburg may be able to capitalize on that from time to time if, in fact, they get it early inside of Richmond's defensive end and are able to quickly counter and find the right person inside of the box.
Delicott was knocked down, no call. We're going to play on, and here's a turnover, and Harrisburg now in possession. And that pass is knocked away by Vercoloni. Here's Spitz, Shea Spitz, still running. And there's a whistle and a foul against Harrisburg. And that's going to be whistled against Burrill. So it'll be a kick. Here's an opportunity. Still in possession. Now this is the replay of what I thought was a goal. And, of course, I missed that one well.
We're going to let you. We're going to tease you for that one, Mike.
That's
I understand that.
That's my one mistake and probably not the last, obviously. Here's Spitz, who's played very well for Richmond this season. Here's George Davis IV. He got a chance at that whiff by DePrima.
Yeah, for Harrisburg's first touch has been pretty bad so far.
Here's the ball sent into the box. Delicott with the header. That's a goal from Matthew Delicott.
What a ball. What an absolute gem of a ball. I believe it was from Garez, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and that's two old-school kickers kind of hooking up together. You got Sasha Garez and you've got Matthew Delicott. They're certainly no stranger to each other. Sasha Garez with a great ball, probably the best ball I've seen all this season, right to Matthew Delicott. And any good striker will tell you, head it back to where it came from, head it to the back post, and that's exactly what he did.
7th goal of the season for the veteran Matthew Delicott. And Richmond is on top. I got that one right. 1-0.
Well, you waited to make sure to actually hit the back of the net.
Yes,
but
I
the
did.
thing is, though, you look at Garris and Delicott, they're like collecting the soccer version of Social Security at this point in their careers. They've been around so long, yet they're still able to do it, and that was really good. That was, again, as Ryan said, that might be the best ball I've seen this year on a cross, and a great finish from Deli.
How fitting they get the goal on Ronnie Pascal night, of course, a veteran that played with them for so many years here in Richmond, huh?
Absolutely.
Well, what we like to say is Ronnie Pascal may have possibly saved that. Very doubtful since Delicott placed it in such a great place, but in respect to Ronnie Pascal, possibly.
And a whistle. Leave the flags up for an offsides. So 1-0, Richmond on top. Matthew Delicott from Sasha Goyes. And a beautifully placed ball, Mark, like you said, right on the head. And Ryan, a great point. The keeper, of course, his momentum carrying him to the left. Delicott just placed it back to where he was to the right. Here's Roberts. And
That was a little dangerous there.
Roberts shielding off the Harrisburg defender, the offensive player.
Well, that was Bouquet.
Yeah.
That was his first real opportunity. I thought he might be able to bring I think he took Yambi on that one. And it was Roberts that had to come over and cover. So Bouquet is one of those guys, again, as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, going to have to watch him. Very, very good player.
Here's a ball quickly into the middle, and it eluded Spitz, and it's headed away by Harrisburg, and now controlled by Asante. He looks on the near side, knocked away nicely that time. I believe that was number 30, Ribeiro, that got his foot on that. Now Harrisburg. Caskey got a knee on it for Richmond. Here's an opportunity. This is McLaughlin, number 18, working against Roberts. McLaughlin now will play it back, and Bercoloni will settle. He played it back to Schaefer, number 20, or Schaefer, excuse me. And no offsides. Here's an opportunity. Oh, coming back nicely for Harrisburg was Bonner, number 16.
Wow, that was Nick Noble came out of goal there. Boy, he was in no man's land. You're always running a risk. If you miss the ball and bring down the player, that's a red card. You touch the ball, it's a red card. Noble played that about as well as you can, was able to get that away.
And to be honest, it looked a little bit more like Jason Yeisley might have actually played the ball into Nick Noble. He looked like he was playing the wrong way, Sam, which is what I call, play around one way and run around the other side. And Nick Noble, it looked like it more or so hit him than it did actually. He made a great play. And Jason Yeisley, if he had that play back, I'm sure he would have taken that on the same side of himself. And Nick Noble about 35 yards out from goal.
Here's Roberts dropping it off to Vercoloni. That was Boehner, by the way, that made the nice play for Harrisburg. And here's Asante. But Richmond right now really, confidence-wise, is up. And there's trying to overlap, and it failed to click, so look at the goal kick. You see the Harrisburg player. There it is. There's the goal by Delicott. His 7th of the season. Boy, he and George Davis IV have been what a beautiful placed ball from Gorez. Yeah. But Delicott and George Davis IV have been quite the combo as far as putting the ball in the back of the net for Richmond.
In a situation like that, obviously Nick Noble he's doing what he can do to the maximum, and he's got to expect his defenders to possibly clear that. And Matthew Delicott, not to have such a clear header in that situation. Matthew Delicott had all day to choose whether he wants to head near post, back post, and Nick Noble at that point is like a frozen deer in headlights. He can't go any way. He's got to wait until the ball's hit and then react to it.
So this, I believe, will be the third corner kick. It'll be Pelletier taking it, number 22 for Harrisburg. The City Islanders down early here in City Stadium. And Willis snares that one.
Very easy ball for Joe Willis to grab. Just a high-flighted ball, and that's something Jason Pelletier has to drive nice and low, maybe about head height, but very easy for Joe Willis to get a hand on that.
Willis with 4 shutouts so far in this young season. He is posting a 0.777 goals against, which is second in the league as far as shutouts go. So he's been very solid in goal for Richmond this season. And, of course, if you're going to credit Willis for the shutouts, you've got to credit that back line as well, don't you, Mark?
Absolutely. And it's one of those interesting things that Hugh Roberts is starting in the back alongside of Yombi. You've had Connor Shinoski, you've had Henry Kalungi. So you've had a couple of different combinations in there, and the fact that Richmond's still doing so well is keeping people off the scoreboard is a testament to the quality of defenders that they have on this team.
That ball by Spitz goes over the goal. Roberts, I think he made his debut, if I'm not mistaken, in that first U.S. Open Cup matchup with RVA, and has been very solid in the back. He played well that night and has been a very nice find for Lee Collishaw and the Kickers organization.
Just another one of those gems that Collishaw can find. He seems to find a couple every year.
Possession now for Boehner for Harrisburg. Giveaway. Here's Asante on the run. Asante, beautiful ball. Spitz couldn't quite get to it, and it rolls to Noble. No call. I didn't think, to be honest with you, I didn't think they should have called anything. Nice ball that time. I thought maybe Asante might take that shot from about 20 yards out, but instead he laid it off.
And Asante's the type of player who wants to actually pass the ball rather than shoot himself. And what you saw was just a slight hesitation from Asante. He likes to give a little bit of a fake. And I thought he was actually going to head back to the right side. And what he actually did was he hesitated, he faked a little bit, had the Harrisburg defender bite, and then decided to go that way. And he looked like he was actually trying to connect with Delicott. Delicott had stopped his run, but he had two runners on his right side, and that might have been the best bet. But sometimes when you've made up your mind, you've got those horse blinders on, and you're deciding to go to the left-hand side regardless of what's happening.
And Ryan, as a former player, these teams know pretty much the tendencies of players, don't they? I mean, a lot of folks think that Asante's a pass-first as opposed to a shot-first player, right?
Somewhat, but, as a player, what you're thinking of is what the first danger is, and the first danger is shot.
Right.
Regardless of who you're defending at that point. And obviously you're always going to take the biggest danger away, so you're always going to take Asante's shot away.
Here's a nice ball for Spitz. He's in a foot race and cut off that time by number 2, Marquez. And that ball's into the Richmond end, and it's controlled by Yambi. And Yambi now plays it off to Roberts.
And you can tell Harrisburg is conserving their energy just a little bit. They're really not extending themselves past halfway too much. They're starting to chase some balls a little bit past halfway, but they've got a line of confrontation, which would probably be at the top of the Richmond Kickers side circle. So they're really not extending themselves too much, and they don't want to exert too much effort in pressuring the ball. Instead, when they win it, they want to go forward, and they want to flood forward.
There's a nice ball off, and just outside the box, now inside the box, Drutton off to McLaughlin, and a shot. Oh, and Willis stuffed that.
Big save from Willits. Another play from McLaughlin.
As he smothered that shot to the near post. And here's Harrisburg with a quick restart on the throw-in. So here's possession for for Harrisburg. It's number 16 with it now. That is Boehner. Off to DePrima. And
that's assault in some states there. McLaughlin there.
McLaughlin and Kasky got tied up. Well, the search for a Triple Crown winner in horse racing is going to continue at least another year. California Chrome denied, finishing 4th in the Belmont Stakes. The last Triple Crown winner was 1978. Mark wasn't even born yet.
Yes, I was, and that was affirmed. I
You
remember
are correct.
that.
I wasn't. No. But, unfortunately, I had many years on me. There's the ball off on the far side to Gores. Notice Ryan's not saying nothing. Here's
Ryan
Gores.
wasn't born yet, let me tell you that.
Nice move by Gores. He's into the box. And the cross will be kept in play by Harrisburg.
Guys, I just want to say, you're right. I was certainly not born at that point in time.
So here's Asante rolling it off to George Davis the 4th.
One day you will be as old as us, my friend.
Asante playing it wide, and Vercaloni trying to put on the Jets, but just couldn't catch up to it. So a throw in for Harrisburg. City Islanders down 1-0. Matthew Delicot's 7th goal of the season has pushed Richmond in front 1-0. Battle for that ball, Ribeiro was battling.
A lot of grabbing and shoving in the middle third of the field between Harrisburg and Richmond. I'm curious to see if we're going to get anything a little more serious because they're starting, like I said, starting to get a little grabby and a little chippy there.
Here's Spitz trying to flick it ahead to, I believe, Yaisley.
You know, Mark, and that's nothing new for Harrisburg for the most part. I'll tell you.
Is that what happened when you played there?
When I played for a year over in Harrisburg, obviously it was that type of team where it was really blue collar, and we prided ourselves on that. We had players in the instance of Dustin Bixler, and that's just the way the mentality of the team went. Bill Betcher coached it that way, where it was a player-style team, and we did what we needed to do to make sure that we grind out results, and then honestly, it was grinding out results.
And George Davis's shot is blocked aside that time by Boehner. That was some nice, quick passing, nice one-touch passing from Richmond to get that opportunity to George Davis, the fourth, banged off of Boehner, and it's going to result in a corner kick.
I was trying to set Ryan up so I could lead him into the "you played for Harrisburg, what do you think" kind of thing. So, thank you, Ryan.
So George Davis, the fourth. You see the Ronnie Pascal jerseys that are being displayed tonight by the home crowd. Flicked into the middle, settled, a shot,
nope.
And
so he called offside.
Offsides, yep.
That was a close one, I think, though. I think it was a little closer than.
And that's partly, obviously it's 1-0 for Richmond Kickers, but that's partly a wake-up call for Harrisburg City Islanders. You have Matthew Delcott, who's always poaching, consistently poaching, and that's just the danger of Matthew Delcott. He may be asleep for 5-8 minutes of the game, maybe even 50 minutes, but when he shows up, it's costly.
So here's Harrisburg in possession. Ball played over by number 20. That's Schaefer. Harrisburg player went down. Referee says, nope, play on. Ball played back. Yambi rolls it over on the far side to Sasha. Back to Yambi.
Pedro Rivera, number 30, was not happy with the no call there. He was very unhappy with that.
Well, here's an opportunity by Spitz. He settles. Nice drop off to Vercoloni on the overlap. Vercoloni into the middle, and it's flicked away at the last minute by Harrisburg. Settled down, though. There's a shot blocked. It comes to Spitz. He couldn't get a foot on it. Oh, nice hustle that time. Was that Caskey, I believe? But Harrisburg comes up with it. They roll it ahead to McLaughlin.
I'll tell you what, if Caskey has a better first touch on that rebound, he's got a wide open shot there.
And the ball is settled now. Yaisley at midfield. No, it was Caskey, excuse me. Here's Yambi. Now to Caskey. I like the way they're finding Asante, Caskey, and Spitz in that midfield area.
They are, and Harrisburg's sitting very, very deep, so both Caskey and Asante are able to get that ball inside of their own third, but there's no pressure from Harrisburg, so that means Asante and Caskey are able to find whoever they want to find at this point.
Here's Yambi now near midfield, just touches it ahead. George Davis, the fourth, will play it back to him. Ribeiro trying to track it down for Harrisburg. And Vercoloni is going to have to Caskey now comes back. Also, what has been successful has been Vercoloni on the overlaps. He's been very dangerous getting that overlap and getting in an opportunity to get some very good crosses. We know Vercoloni is very strong in when he's coming down that wing, Mark, to get those crosses, which lead to goals a lot of times.
And what happens there, I think what's interesting is the fact that little three that are over there, Caskey and Spitz and Vercoloni, have not played together hardly at all, if at all. And they seem to be having really good communication between the three of them. Lots of overlaps, lots of coverage. When one pushes up, the other covers for them. I think it's done really, really well this first part of the first half.
So here's Roberts now, playing it off to Vercoloni. He just flicks it ahead, gets the return pass. Again, remember the Kickers playing without two main cogs in Alex Lee and Mike Callahan tonight. And again, we're seeing that depth. Here's Caskey, just a quick touch over to George Davis, the fourth. He's got a nice run going. Didn't quite get it teed up in time, so now he'll just play it back. And Caskey will spin away from a defender. Here's Gorez. I thought George Davis, the fourth, was going to tee that one up, but here's Ribeiro. Dropping it back to Marquez. There's a long pass ahead, but Yambi pushed that over the sideline. It'll be a throw-in for Harrisburg. 1-0, Matthew Delcott with the only goal. Here's that opportunity a moment ago by McLaughlin, and there's that nice stop by Willis as he smothered it, and then coming through and knocking it out of harm's way was the Richmond defender. Here's Spitz being hounded, being grabbed, and the whistle is blown because of the foul on Schaefer.
Yeah, again, Willis coming up with that big save just a few minutes ago. Again, it's another one of those things, you know, when Kalashaw, he had Andrew Dykstra last year. He's got Walt Willis this year, you know, guys on loan from DC United. These are guys that are MLS quality goalkeepers. And, you know, as we talked a little bit about that before, Mike. I think that's such a huge thing. Is like I said, you know, they've got good defenders in front of him, but you have, like I said, you have MLS quality goalkeepers that have played and logged lots of minutes in MLS. They just bring a certain maturity, I think, and confidence in the team. I think that really helps a lot. And someone like Ryan Taylor, who's played a couple of games this year and has played very well, he's learning from Dykstra. He's learning from Willis. So, again, it's all positive from Richmond as far as having this depth and an MLS quality player.
And not only the confidence, but also, Mark, I think another word that I would use is calmness. They do a lot, they do a nice job with the poise at the back and just settling things down when they get a little hectic back there. So here's Harrisburg in possession after the foul. And it's number 22, Pelletier. And here's Asante. And he had his pocket picked. Here's an opportunity. Quick pass for Ribeiro. And he turns and his shot sails over the goal.
Always dangerous when you lose the ball going forward in your own third of the field. The players have left their marks, and there seems to be a little bit more open space. So Samuel he needs to be a little more careful with the ball in his own third.
Scores, stats, news, and more. You can exclusively find it on USLProSoccer.com for all the information you need about USL Pro Soccer. So the goal kick from Willis, and now it'll be Caskey settling it down for the restart for the Richmond Kickers. Love to see him get a second goal here before this half ends. Still got a little over 12 minutes at least left in this first half. Here's Roberts. And Yambi. He's making Ribeiro run. Chase. Here's Asante. And he'll play it back to Roberts.
It was a good ball. Opened that up a little bit. It was getting a little congested there.
So here's Hugh Roberts now rolling it ahead. Spitz with a quick pass for Vercoloni, and he kept it in. Takes a bump, and now it's just played into some open space, and Harrisburg says thank you very much. That clearing attempt was knocked away. Boehner's clearing attempt knocked away by George Davis IV.
Richmond just seems to be a step quicker tonight to the ball.
They do, and I'm not too sure if that's Richmond actually being a step quicker or if that's Harrisburg just being a little bit too slow to the ball. And it doesn't seem like a typical Harrisburg team.
Well, I think not having Langley hurts a lot for them tonight, obviously.
And one of those key factors is obviously Pedro Ribeiro has only played one game to date so far. So, whether or not Langley is a huge key piece that they're missing in this lineup so far. And Langley's got a lot of pace. He's got a lot of skill as well. And he's actually quite technical. And he's a key piece to Harrisburg's run into the finals a couple of years ago.
So here's the throw in for George Davis IV. Off to Asante. Davis will play it back to Roberts. The other thing, Mark, we've noticed with these guys that are coming in and giving some quality time, whether it be coming in for injury or coming off the bench, the starters or the players that get a great amount of playing time, they're not afraid to go back to, like, for example, going back to Roberts, they're not afraid to use him. Again, that's, I think, a testament, to the confidence that these guys get because of the quality that they provide off the bench. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I sure would. These guys train together every day. You develop a trust. I mean, Ryan obviously can vouch for that. You work and you bleed and sweat with these guys every single day. You go to bat with them.
So here's Harrisburg in possession. Pelletier off now to ball played ahead. Here's McLaughlin.
McLaughlin's starting to find his way into the middle of the field. Obviously he's vacating this left wing, and he wants to get a little bit more involved, and that's good for a player of his caliber as well. Get more involved, help start to facilitate Harrisburg's flow, and it looks as though he's a bit disappointed that he thought he was fouled there.
Yeah. Here's Delicott coming back and challenged. And
Look at Deli hustling there.
Deli hustled, did a great job of keeping that ball alive on the goal that he got. I'm sorry, he had an opportunity that George Davis IV got, but he did a great job of hustling and keeping that ball alive. Now here's an attack for Schaefer for Harrisburg, off to McLaughlin.
And Steve Whittleson, who's the assistant coach for Harrisburg City Islanders here, waving his ranks on, trying to get them up. When they won the ball there, he tried to wave them on and get them up the field and give them a little bit of energy, which is exactly what Harrisburg City Islanders teams have always had, energy going forward. When they win the ball, they flood forward with numbers, and that's been their suffocating factor. And it just seems as though they don't really have that, and Steve Whittleson trying to inject a little bit of that into this team tonight.
And here I believe it's Bouquet. He's had 2 goals. Hasn't had many touches tonight, but he possessed there, but then
He doesn't need a whole lot.
no. Good job by Delicott. Boy, Delicott has got a lot of spring in his step tonight. Nice job of coming back and disrupting that Harrisburg attack. And there's the foul. And then the number 8. Not too happy. Still not happy. And a yellow card has been issued.
Was that Shea Spitz involved in that little dust-up? I think it might have been. He tends to be around those.
So the yellow card was issued to number 8. And that is Burrill. Jose Burrill. Here's George Davis IV now for Richmond, off to Yambi. Yambi playing it. Nice ball ahead for Gorez. Sasha very dangerous. Now drops it off. There's George Davis IV. Nice ball back. Beautiful to Spitz. Spitz shot, though. Couldn't get it down, and he puts it in the upper deck.
And that's a very, very difficult skill to kind of accomplish. You know, obviously, if he's trying to hit that with his laces, Shea Spitz, it's coming back towards him. Any little bit of hop, any little mistouch by Shea Spitz, he's almost got to curl that with the inside of his foot. You know, he's obviously trying to power that past Nick Noble towards the near post. It's a very, very difficult skill to accomplish.
Nice job by Vercoloni to step up and steal that pass. Nice sliding play there, but now possession for Caskey, and he just calmly plays it back to Roberts. Here's Caskey taking a look.
That's good. Let the ball do the work.
Yep.
It's a hot night. Harrisburg's traveled.
They're making him chase quite a bit.
Yeah.
Here's Asante now near midfield. Plays it over to Roberts. Harrisburg, after tonight, they will play Wednesday night. They'll play at Pittsburgh, and then they will host the Riverhounds a week from tonight. So home and home with the Pittsburgh Riverhounds is up next for Harrisburg.
And I think it's safe to say that based on the way both those teams have played and where they are in the standings, if one team wins 2 of those games, the team that loses both of them is pretty much out of it already.
Wow, you think so this early in the season?
Absolutely. Well, Pittsburgh's only got 4 points, and I believe Harrisburg's only got 8. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking these teams, like we said at the beginning of the program, Mike, they need to start getting some points here.
Ooh, that ball came to Deli, and he couldn't quite settle it.
So that really is that's a really big series, one way or the other.
Ball lofted into the box. Jaisley tried to win that 50-50 ball, but was denied. Here's McLaughlin, quick one touch ahead. And here's Bouquet. Playing it ahead for Ribeiro and Roberts, with Ribeiro shadowing him. And Asante plays it back, and Willis says, I've got this. 1-0. Richmond on top. Matthew Delicott with his 7th of the season from the veteran. And a beautiful setup on a beautiful cross from Sasha Gorez. Here's Asante. On the night that one of the best, if not the best, goaltender in Kickers history is going to be honored at halftime, we're talking about Ronnie Pascal. There's George Davis IV off to Asante. Nice quick ball played to Caskey, and he'll just keep it rolling over to Yambi. Richmond threatening here. Here's George Davis the fourth. He's going to get some company, and he knows it, so he quickly plays it to Gares. There's a nice ball to Spitz. Spitz into the middle, and well defended that time by Harrisburg. Knocked away there by Pelletier. And Harrisburg with possession. Ball just touched ahead. Here's Bouquet just gently dropping it back. Ball played over. Harrisburg, like Richmond, has also been very successful in U.S. Open Cup play. They've won their first 2-round matches. Of course, Richmond will play in the U.S. Open Cup on Wednesday, June 18th here at City Stadium, hosting the New England Revolution.
Oh, that'll be a fun one. New England's been one of the most improved teams in MLS this year, along with DC United. That's going to be a very good game, very, very tough game for Richmond. They're going to have to bring their A game that night.
There's the ball played long for Shea Spitz. I think it hit the back of his head. And the ball now is controlled by Zizi, as Harrisburg tries to mount an offensive attack here near midfield. Ball possessed by Schaefer. Now the play ahead.
Yeah, they're trying to find McLaughlin, but Vercoloni was on him like glue in the back part there, and when McLaughlin kind of came into the middle, they picked him up there too. They're doing a good job of denying him the ball right now.
I agree with that, but I thought McLaughlin could have been a little bit more aggressive in trying to win that ball. That's just my take.
Okay. Sorry.
There's that last play right to Spitz, and Spitz knocked it, got himself a home run, but that's the wrong sport. You see Nick Noble not too happy with his defense. So here's Kasky playing one, and Noble will handle that as Yambi was trying to make. Now Yambi's got to make the long run to get back into his defensive position. Here's McLaughlin.
This is what they want. They want him running at defenders.
Now the ball played over. Here's Ribeiro.
Got to try and find Bouquet around here too. Get him some touches on the ball.
Yeah, just as you said that, Mark, I was watching Asante, and he quickly found him.
Yeah.
Trying to cut off a passing lane. The ball touched by number 20, Schaefer. And Schaefer's going to get the ball on the near side. And Schaefer's crossing attempt knocked away by Yaisley, and it'll be a corner kick once again for Harrisburg as you look at Joe Willis. You also see that Sasha Goraz was trying to pump up his teammates. So the corner kick now from Burrill. And it's in the box and cleared away. George Davis, the fourth, I believe, cleared that away, and there's a foul against Harrisburg. So winding down this first half here at City Stadium, a 1-0 advantage for Richmond, thanks to Matthew Delicott with his 7th goal of the season.
Actually, having to change shoes down there. Can't really see it. He's going to have one really glowing shoe, and the other one's a white one. So that'll be interesting to watch.
He won't be hard to spot, will he? Ball played ahead, and Asante is whistled for a foul against Ribeiro. Quick restart here for Harrisburg, but Yambi being challenged, drops it back to Goraz, and he'll sweep it back in to the Richmond goal area where Willis will settle it. Here's Roberts, and Roberts back to Willis. Roberts, a very lanky defender. And now Willis will kick it past midfield. Ball flicked on by Yaisley. Settled, though, by Harrisburg, number 16, Boehner. Nice job of winning that 50-50 ball, but here comes, George Davis, the fourth, blew a tire.
The referee actually put his whistle to his mouth and then decided to waive no foul there. So it was quite interesting. And the referee's been, what I would say, is relatively touchy this game so far. You know, he's taking a no-nonsense type of approach where any sort of foul, whether it's a little bit of a push, he's taking that as a foul. And, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of fouls around the top of the 18, which result in dangerous free kicks.
Now here's McLaughlin dropping it off to number 20, Schaefer. Off to number 14, DePrima. Ball played ahead to Bouquet. Bouquet running at Gorez. No whistle. And Yambi with possession. Here's a look at Sasha and Bouquet.
It was good positioning by Sasha there, because he's not going to win a foot race against Bouquet, so that was good positioning there.
Delicott took a bump, but play continues.
I'll tell you what, one of the things, we've still got a few minutes left in the first half, but Ryan, you know, with Yeisley, as far as I know, he's still only able to play 45 minutes coming back from those concussion symptoms. And I know you talked to Jason a lot. Now, at halftime, so probably it looked like we're going to have to make a change. You think that's a Tishan Hanley? Cristiano Francois, somebody comes in, changes things up a little bit.
It's certainly a possibility. You never really know. You know, obviously, Mike Callahan's out with a little bit of an injury, so you don't have an Asante coming in off the bench or Luke Vercoloni coming in off the bench. You know, and I'm not too sure at this point. Jason Yeisley, it may be possible that he's clear to play a full 90.
Okay.
You know, who honestly knows? But, yeah, I'd look for a possible change. Tishan Hanley maybe coming in up top and you know, it's quite a conundrum that Lee Kalishaw has to face every game day, isn't it?
Not a bad conundrum, though, is it?
No, it isn't.
There's our word of the day, by the way.
Yeah, okay.
Conundrum.
We'll have a spelling test at the end of the contest.
Please don't.
Hey, soccer fans, don't forget to visit the USL Pro fan page on Facebook at facebook.com/USL Pro.
But, Mark, like you were saying, obviously with DC United not supplying too many players down here at this point, Cristiano Francois may be one of those players who may be going in around halftime or the 60th minute.
Gorez with a cross, and Vercoloni made a late run, but the Harrisburg defender was in front of him. Here's Ribeiro.
A great hustle again from Yeisley there.
And Ribeiro is screaming at the official. He had a great look from our camera crew.
I tell you, Ribeiro's going to get a yellow for dissent. That's the third time he said something to the referee. I'm very surprised he hasn't at least gotten a verbal yet. He's frustrated. I think he was fouled on that, though. I really do.
There's Caskey playing it back for Roberts.
And this is a situation where Harrisburg's really not capitalizing on a bad pass by Alex Caskey. You know, that's a situation Hugh Roberts is turned into his own corner. Harrisburg had an opportunity to steal a few yards, possibly pressure into the corner. Hugh Roberts, when he turns and faces up, obviously, if he's got a man on his back, it makes it very, very difficult. And you can see Harrisburg's kind of taken the back seat to this game as far as putting pressure onto Richmond. And it's almost a sense of when you give us the ball, then we'll attack your goal. Not we'll win the ball off you and attack the goal.
Curious to see what kind of changes Belcher's going to make at halftime as well.
Here's Bouquet now, the 19-year-old. Challenged by George Davis IV with Sasha Gorez, and there's a foul as George Davis IV took his legs out.
A little over-eager to win the ball by George Davis IV, but that's the thing you're not seeing from Harrisburg, them being eager to win the ball. And that's what you're starting to see from Richmond, and you know, that's where they're putting their stamp on this game. And, you know, 1-0's not a safe scoreline by any means. This is a situation where Harrisburg whips in a great ball from this set piece, and, you know, we're going into halftime at 1-1.
So here's Burrill, who will handle this free kick opportunity for Harrisburg. Mike Neville, Mark Bushman, Ryan Hines along with you. 1-0, Richmond on top. Dangerous opportunity for Harrisburg. Ball played in and headed away. And Gorez battling. And we got a whistle. I believe we had an offsides. There's Ronnie Pascal.
Man of the hour.
Yep. He will be honored at halftime for a terrific career here with the Richmond Kickers.
He's honestly looking a little bit bigger than what I remember him actually retiring.
There it is.
I'd probably say maybe about 20 to, maybe 75 pounds.
When he comes up, I think he's going to try and come up in the second half. You can talk to him, Ryan. I'm not saying anything, man.
I most certainly can.
There you go. But, he still doesn't have hair. I don't think I've ever known him to actually have a full head of hair.
He has more hair on his chin than he actually does on his head.
And Burrell lost possession, but then the whistle for the foul.
And there's that soft, I wouldn't, I personally as a player will say that's a soft foul from the referee. But there's that situation where the referee's calling every little thing. And that's a situation that's going to keep this Harrisburg team in check. Harrisburg is typically, as I've mentioned time and time again, a grinded-out type team where they'll grab, they'll pull, they'll fight for every single ball. And unfortunately, the way that the referee's kind of calling this game, it's not allowing Harrisburg to kind of do that. He's calling every foul.
And we have made it to the halfway point. So Matthew Delicat's goal off the beautiful cross from Sasha Garez. There's Deli walking off. At number 7, that's also the number of goals he's gotten so far this season, thanks to the goal that has pushed Richmond to the 1-0 halftime advantage as they enjoy the 1-0 advantage, and the officials talking to different players, William Yambi being spoken to. So it's 1-0 Richmond again. Matthew Delicat with the goal. Real quick, observations, guys. Your thoughts, Mark, real quick?
Well, I think it was a very, very good half for Richmond, and I think Harrisburg is lucky that it's not at least 2-0, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Harrisburg, they had a couple of moments where they had some decent possession, but they seem a step slower tonight than they normally are. And Richmond, I think, has been unlucky not to capitalize. And Harrisburg, though, only being down 1-0, I think, they make a couple of adjustments at halftime. They've got the players, Bouquet, and they've got McLaughlin there. They just need one break. They're right back in the game.
And, Ryan, one thing that you said about Harrisburg this half, just that no pressure on Richmond on those 50-50 balls, or even when they get possession, not even creating a foul. That's got to change, I think, if they want to have some success, don't you think?
Certainly. They're taking a very, very low line is what I would call. And what I mean by saying that is they're not really putting much pressure on Richmond when they should be. There's opportunities when you can steal some space. Now, they've obviously, and hitting upon what Mark said, they've got Jan Ekra, who's on the bench, who's played a quite amount this season, and whether or not he's got some niggling little injuries or not, but he's a player who can possibly turn this game on its head and put some pressure on the Richmond team and kind of, obviously challenge Joe Willis in goal.
Exactly. All right, 1-0, Richmond on top. You're watching Richmond Kickers Soccer on YouTube. Stay with us. Welcome back. City Stadium 1-0, honoring Ronnie Pascal this evening. Hey, don't forget about the Kickers Camp. Fans, you can still sign up for the 2014 series of Richmond Kickers Youth Soccer Camps all summer long. The soccer camp is a great opportunity for boys and girls to develop their overall playing ability and their love of the sport. Campers will receive unparalleled coaching and instruction from the Kickers players, coaches, and staff in an enjoyable, friendly environment. Camps range from individual to team camps, as well as specialized training in finishing, goalkeeping, and more. Learn more about the camps and how to sign up by logging on to their website at www.richmondkickers.com. The broadcast of this match is authorized by the Richmond Kickers. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of any image, sound, account, or description without the express written permission of the club is strictly prohibited. Tonight's match was produced for the Kickers by Tourbeau Sports Group, the official video production company of the Richmond Kickers. At this time, we would like to take a brief moment to thank some of our major sponsors for the 2014 season. They include the main jersey sponsor, Health Diagnostic Laboratory Incorporated, as well as YOGG, the official club's marketing partner. To learn more about all the sponsors for the Kickers, just log on to the club's website at www.richmondkickers.com. We would also like to thank the official apparel provider, Adidas, a sponsor of the Richmond Kickers. Be sure to grab your official Kickers merchandise online or right here at City Stadium on game days. And don't miss our next broadcast. The Kickers are right back in action a week from tonight on June the 14th, as the Kickers will take on Arizona in their next contest. So make sure you catch all the action, Richmond Kickers games, on their YouTube channel. It's 1-0 at the half, and coming up next, we're going to hopefully talk to Ronnie Pascal, and we'll have some highlights from a very entertaining first half, as well as, of course, getting you ready for the second half. 1-0 Richmond. Ronnie talking to the crowd, and you're watching Richmond Kickers Soccer on YouTube. And welcome back. City Stadium. Richmond Kickers enjoying a 1-0 advantage. And I've got to correct myself. The next game next Saturday night here at a week from tonight here at City Stadium, it's going to be the Wilmington Hammerheads in town, not Arizona. So I apologize for that miscue. But we'll have the action for you on the YouTube channel. Richmond Kickers Soccer. 1-0 at the half. Matthew Delicat's goal. You see the news crews around Ronnie Pascal. Of course, Ronnie being honored this evening for a tremendous career with the Richmond Kickers. 13 seasons he was a member of the Kickers. Here's that goal. Look at that beautifully placed cross to Matthew Delicat, and he finished it off beautifully with the header in the back of the net. And here it is again. Watch the placement of this cross right here. It's a beautiful cross right on the head of Deli, and he didn't miss as he was able to knock it into the back of the net to give Richmond the 1-0 advantage, which is what they enjoy right now, getting ready for the second half. And when you come to City Stadium, always great, lots of stuff going on at halftime. We've got some kids' games going on. They're going to have the Frisbee toss. There's some of the little kids that are taking part. This is what this organization is all about, having family involvement. And they always have tremendous youth programs, the Richmond Kickers. And you can see some of the kids taking part in some soccer games. We also have the Frisbee toss coming up. And just like I say, when you talk about the Richmond Kickers, you are talking about a tremendous family organization. And Mark's back with me. And Mark, that's one thing that's always impressed us. Of course, you and I have been covering the Kickers for a number of years, but how they get the families involved, not only with things to do outside of the stadium or inside the stadium, but off the field, but also during halftime bringing out some youth teams and letting them partake.
Absolutely, and I apologize for ditching out on you, Mike.
Oh, that's all right.
It's a little hot up here. We need to get some water, so I went on the water break for us. But yeah, I believe this is Richmond's 21st or 22nd year. I can't get it right, but when you look at soccer organizations in this country historically over 100 and some years, they last maybe 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. Now, obviously, with the coming on with MLS in 1996, you're looking at that kind of establishment. But a team like Richmond that has been professional soccer for, like I said, for 20-plus years, it's just such a big accomplishment, and it's a tribute to this organization. Lee Calishaw has been here pretty much since day one. Shelley Sowers, the general manager, she's been here for, at least a decade or so. So you have that consistency and people that are staying here, and that's the sign of any good organization, whether it's sports or anything. If you can get consistency in management, the players obviously want to play here. They've got a really strong youth program. I mean, it's just a great organization, and I think it's a real tribute to soccer in this country. And I know USL really appreciates them. We've talked to those guys, Tim Holt and Chris Economides and those guys, and they really value a team like Richmond. When they come to the table in the winter meeting and stuff like that, they command that respect because they've been here for so long. And
don't forget, Kickers fans, they've got a couple of special games coming up. Of course, on June the 18th, that's a Wednesday night, they'll continue play in the U.S. Open Cup as the Kickers will entertain New England Revolution. That game's got, I believe, a 7 o'clock start here at City Stadium. And then coming up in July, really, this will be a special treat if you're a soccer fan, because I know, Mark, you follow soccer very closely, obviously. Crystal Palace is a team that's coming over, and, they were on TV the other night. As a matter of fact, I was watching part of their game. But it's really a great opportunity for this organization to get Crystal City to come over here and play in front of the Richmond Kickers fans.
Well, you get an EPL side that comes over here, a Premier League side in Crystal Palace, and that's another organization that's been around for a very, very long time, and they're going to have a really good crowd here that night. I bet they get at least 10,000, maybe even more than that, and that's really good. It shows respect for the organization, why a team wants to come here and play. And let me tell you, it might be a preseason exhibition for them, but they're not going to treat it like that. Teams that have come over here, I've been watching these teams come over for a very, very long time, and these guys especially, you get a Manchester United or Real Madrid or something like that, they're kind of just, who their starters are.
Right.
You get a team like Crystal Palace that struggles, honestly, to stay up in the Premier League on a consistent basis. They're bringing in new guys, and it's just a war watching these guys compete and train, and they are going to go full out when they play on the 28th of July. Unfortunately, I will not be here for that because Richmond schedules good, fantastic games when I'm not in town. So, but that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to be able to watch that from where I am. But that's going to be great.
Look at that ball. I mean, just to place that ball right on the head of Delicott was a beautiful play by Sasha. And by the way, I should say congratulations to your niece, right?
Yes,
Erin Bushman.
Erin Bushman.
Graduated today from Chancellor High School. Congratulations to all the high school graduates and college graduates. It's a fun time of year for relatives and family members at this time of year. And we want to wish all of you guys and gals much success in the coming years as you now really buckle down into real life.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. She graduated with a 3.95 GPA. She's going to Randolph-Macon, and she's going to play field hockey there. So as I told her, I said, you had a lot of fun in high school. It was a great time. You won a couple state championships. It's a little different when you go to that next level.
Exactly.
So it's very good for her. And congratulations to all the graduates.
Yep. And again, I don't know Erin, but
yeah, you do.
Well, a little bit. Congratulations to her, and like I said, all the graduates. And as Mark mentioned, he will not be here for the USL or for the U.S. Open Cup game coming up on the 18th as they take on New England. Now, in the past, they have taken on DC United. Is this a change of philosophy? Why are we not seeing DC United coming to City Stadium like we normally do, in your opinion?
It's a tough one because they want to change. They want to change it up a little bit because you see the same guys, the same two teams every year. It might get a little repetitive. Me personally, I think you can never have too many Richmond versus D.C. games because the attendance is always going to be great because you've got a good contingent from D.C. that can get down to Richmond in just a couple of hours and vice versa. So you get it's a really good it's a good moneymaker for Richmond. Just like Crystal Palace is going to be when they play the Mexican national team. It's a good way for them to make money and get a really good crowd. So I like the D.C. United games. Bringing in a New England, it's a little bit different. New England's got a very good squad this year. So they've gotten away from the regional stuff. And part of it does have to do with travel expenses. I think they're putting a little bit more investment into the Open Cup now, which is great because I think it's a great tournament that doesn't get enough recognition. And we've mentioned him before, Ryan and I, a good friend of ours, Josh Hakala, who lives up in Michigan. He basically has taken upon himself these last several years to really, really push the Open Cup. He does all kinds of stuff stuff with the website, broadcast, and all that other stuff. We worked and helped him out with a bunch of stuff. So the Open Cup it's a great tournament, and I think it's going to be really good if you're a Richmond fan. Some of them might be disappointed that they're not going to see DC United this year. But I'm telling you, there's some players on New England's team to watch, and I know Ryan would agree with me. New England has some very, very good players. Fagundes is one of them. He's just such a great young player up in New England. So I think it's going to be good. I think if you can come out here, you can watch your World Cup during the day, and then you're done with the World Cup, and you just come on over to City Stadium and watch some more soccer.
We're facing the same conundrums. We're facing the same conundrums at this point as well.
How many times on that word tonight there?
World Cup versus kickers. And you've got New England coming to town, and Diego Fagundes is one of those players who's just phenomenal. Young talent. Didn't really get off to a phenomenal start to the season for New England, but he's got a lot of talent. And he's one of those players who the U.S. is trying to claim and trying to put a patent on at this point. Not raised in the U.S., but a great, great player.
Yeah, I know that they've talked about him trying to get him into the national team picture, and as we've discussed, a couple weeks ago, the U.S. has this particular World Cup team does have a bit of flair of youth to it. Fagundes is another one of those guys that's young, so I'm curious as to how much Klinsmann has him on his radar. I think it's pretty high, and I wouldn't be surprised in the next few months they try to get him to commit and get him into a call-up.
Certainly.
And by the way, Harrisburg fans, your team, the Harrisburg City Islanders, they have also advanced to the fourth round of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. They'll be taking on the Philadelphia Union, which is coming up on June let me get it right here. I just had it a moment. There it is, June 17th, which is a Tuesday night. So obviously Harrisburg, USL Pro, well represented in Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup play.
They've done really well. And Harrisburg and Philadelphia, they're each other's USL affiliates. So Jim McLaughlin, who is playing for Harrisburg tonight, is part of the Philadelphia Union's group there, so that's going to be an interesting matchup.
Like you said, that's a tightrope to kind of walk, and the Kickers has kind of walked that last year with DC United.
Last several years,
DC United had wound up winning the U.S. Open Cup, but almost lost in penalties for the U.S. Open Cup here at City Stadium, so that's a very difficult thing for Bill Betcher, and then obviously for the Philadelphia Union as well, when you've got players who are cup-tied to Harrisburg City Islanders.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're getting ready for the second half of this evening's contest here at City Stadium. 1-0 Richmond on top. We've shown you the only goal tonight, a beautiful cross from Gorez, finished off by Delicat, Deli's seventh of the season, as Richmond owns the 1-0 advantage. And I thought for the first half they pretty much controlled the play, to be honest with you. But again, when it's 1-0, one little mistake here, and Harrisburg right back in this thing if they can put it in the back of the net. And again, I would expect a little bit more pressure coming from Harrisburg, as we mentioned earlier, on those 50-50 balls. So Harrisburg will kick off to start the second half, and we are underway with the second half from City Stadium. Pleased you're along with us on YouTube, USL Pro Soccer. Mike Neville, Mark Bushman, and Ryan Hines along with you.
I don't see any changes for either team, which is good. As we talked about, Jason Yeisley, it looks like he's cleared to get more than 45 minutes, obviously. So Yeisley, we'll see how long he can go tonight. Hopefully he can get maybe 60 or 65 out of him at least.
And Mark, look who's got a touch right off the bat. That's Bouquet, but he gave it away to Yambi. So Bouquet right away gets involved on a run for the City Islanders, as they now have possession. And here is DePrima dropping it off to Burrill, number 8. I believe Burrill was the one that received the plastic in that first half. The yellow card. Harrisburg playing it on the far side, looking for McLaughlin. Now they go, and a nice job of just simply stealing the ball. Here's George Davis, the fourth. He overran it, fell down. And a foul has been whistled. There's Burrill, number 8, as you see next to the official, the referee, I should say. And now possession for number 22. That's Pelletier. McLaughlin, number 18. Getting ready for the restart. And Harrisburg in possession. Now they play it wide on the near side here. And here is Bouquet. Got around Gorez and was able to keep it in play with the cross. And now I guess the ball did go over the end line, so it'll be a goal kick. Goal kick for Richmond.
And that right there is already a little bit more than what Harrisburg has done in almost 45 minutes of the game, kind of putting Richmond on the back heels there.
So it'll be Willis with the goal kick. We're going to get Ronnie Pascal in here momentarily to talk to us. Here's George Davis the fourth with a shot, and he sent that over the crossbar. And joining us now here in the booth is Ronnie Pascal, recognized tonight after a wonderful career with the Richmond Kickers, 13 seasons.
That was a long time, wasn't it?
How did you survive 13 seasons, my man?
You know what? I'm still asking myself the same question. It was a long time, but I wouldn't trade any of it for anything.
What's been the key as far as when you joined the Kickers, and this organization has been around now, as Mark and I were talking during halftime, 21, 22 years. What's the key to this organization being so successful in your opinion?
Honestly, I think the biggest thing is stability, and they try to keep the stability everywhere. You have someone like Lee, who's kind of the director of soccer, who's been here the whole time the Kickers have been. They really take a grassroots approach to things. So they get out in the community, they get in with the youth clubs. And they try to bring a foundation of players back every year. So you get that group of players who's coming back all the time and they want to be here. It makes a big difference. Ronnie
Pascal with us, the former great goalkeeper for the Richmond Kickers, played 13 seasons, was involved in 6 championship matchups, and I don't want to rat out my buddy Ryan, but I have to. We had a shot of you in the first half, and he says it looks like you put on about 20 to 75 pounds. Now, I'm just quoting what he said.
20 to 75?
Very loosely, I said, you know what? I'm not sure if it's the shirt. I'm not sure what it is, or if you've just been doing a whole lot of CrossFit. I'm not terribly positive.
I'll give a little shout out. CrossFit Midlow. Kevin Knight, former Richmond kicker, Kevin Knight,
right,
owns CrossFit Midlow, and I've been going there, and I've got to get my competitiveness out somehow.
There you go.
So that's how I do it.
There you go.
Thanks, Ryan.
Not a problem, Ronnie.
Ronnie, a lot of players, when they start out a career, they're hoping maybe for a Hall of Fame or whatever. To be recognized by a team that you were, an organization that you were with for 13 seasons, what's that like? What's it mean to you?
I really can't put it in words. Honestly, I was just trying to make a roster when I first broke into the league. There weren't as many opportunities as there are now. And I was one of those guys who everyone told me I was too short.
Right.
Too short to play in college, too short to play pro. The first year down in Atlanta, I played like 60 minutes. And I happened to know Jesse Myers, our old assistant coach, from when he was a coach at UNC Charlotte. So I ended up coming up here for a tryout. And, I guess Lee decided to take a chance on me as a backup. And, played 3 games my first year and 7 games my second year. And all of a sudden I was starting. So, like I said, I wasn't thinking Hall of Fame. I wasn't thinking anything like that. I just wanted to be a starter for a year.
Now, was there any point in time, Ronnie, that, obviously when you're playing throughout the years and, 5 years, 8 years in, when you start to think, you know what, maybe I'm doing something not just for me, but I'm doing something for the youth and for the players to kind of recognize me. Was there any point that you started asking yourself those questions?
Yeah, and that's one of the things I think that the Kickers do a great job at is that grassroots approach where you're getting out there and you're coaching the kids.
Yeah.
And I always thought about it, if I was a young kid growing up and I had a pro soccer team in my town and, the athletes got out there and they coached and you saw them out on the fields and you built relationships with them. And, the number of times you'll see kids in the grocery stores and they'll be like, oh, Ronnie, how you doing? And, they've got that personal relationship with you. I think it means a ton.
I don't think I've ever had one of those instances.
Well, you weren't here for very long.
Let's take a look real quick here. Sasha Gores with a great opportunity on the after the handball, and that ball is flicked over the goal. A couple of quick, you beat 13 seasons. Is there any one memory or maybe 2 or 3 memories that stand out to you?
There's a lot. That I think the best memory I have was 2006, winning that first championship. For me, it was really special. It was 3 days after my son was born, and then to be able to do it at Richmond in front of our home fans it was incredible because we're in the finals in 2002, we're in the finals in 2005, and I don't know if you remember that one, but I missed the penalty kick in Seattle to lose it. So to be able to come back the next year and win was pretty special.
Ronnie Pascal taking a penalty.
There have been a couple of them.
That's a scary
I've
thought
made
in my
more than
mind.
I've missed. 2-1.
It's the cross by Caskey into the box, and Harrisburg with possession. We'll won't keep Ronnie too much longer. I got to ask you, though, Joe Willis now in goal. Of course, we had Dykstra here last year with the Kickers. Tell me, from a goalkeeper, you're a new goalkeeper entering a situation like Joe Willis. How important is it for that communication to have with your defenders, with the guys in the back line with you? And are you surprised? He's got 4 shutouts coming into tonight. Are you surprised at the success they've had?
Not really, because I think you look right now at the back 4 they have, and, the stability they have with Luke and Yambi and Sasha and that experience, I think that goes a long way. And you get someone like Yambi who, every year he pretty much wins first team all league.
Right.
He's incredible. I don't think I appreciated him as much until I was up in the stands watching how good he is.
Right.
So it's one of those things in my mind. As the season's gone on, you can see Joe's been getting more and more comfortable.
Yep.
Same type of thing happened with Andrew, and I think Andrew did a great job last year. I think Joe's only going to get stronger and stronger as that relationship builds more and more.
Right.
And that's always been one of these things, is they're always a solid defensive team.
Right, exactly right. So what now? What are you doing now? I might have missed what you may have said this earlier.
Yeah, I work for a company called Brock International. It's in the synthetic turf industry. We put an underlayment pad underneath synthetic turf fields.
Right.
Really, the big thing is going for added safety and added performance benefits.
Right.
You want to replicate natural grass with synthetic turf. That's the main thing. But you need to keep them safe at the same time.
Now, Ronnie, one quick question before you leave as well. And this is you expect tough questions from me. But
Absolutely.
What I want to ask you is there any point in time when you come up here and you watch games at City Stadium where you miss it a little bit? And how do you handle that as a player as well? An ex-player.
Yeah, ex-player. Last year wasn't as tough, and I think part of it, I coached Dyke for 5 years at VCU. So to see him come down and do really well, it was kind of like watching my protege step in. So I think it made the transition a little bit easier for me personally. As the game started to get more important at the end of the year, that's when the itch started to come out a little bit more.
Yeah.
This year's been a little bit tougher. There's games where you're sitting up there and they're like, man, I kind of want to get out there. I think I could do it again.
Yeah.
But realistically, I don't think my body could. I've got the knees of like an 80-year-old. And like you said, I've put on 75 pounds, so it might be tough.
Well, I was just being a little bit harsh. And then
never.
Nah, never. But lastly, and I guess this is one of those things that, if you want to be remembered for something, what would you want to leave to kids in the next generation as far as what to say to them and advice to say to them?
I think the big thing and the thing I've always kind of prided myself on was just the work ethic and just, have that attitude where you're just going to put your head down and work harder.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate growing up with the coaches I had and some of the training partners I've had. Spent some time in Charlotte training with John Bush. And he's got that same mentality. It's, people tell you can't do it. Well, put your head down and prove them wrong.
Yeah.
If you're going through a slump, don't complain about it. Put your head down and work a little bit harder to try to get out of it. And, for a goalkeeper, I think something that's very important is you're going to make mistakes, but don't make the same mistake twice.
Certainly.
So, learn from your mistakes, try to grow. And the biggest thing, again, is just, be grateful for the opportunities you have. And if you want to do more, then work harder for it.
And lastly, for Harrisburg City Islanders fans, how much does this game, being honored on this specific game, a big rivalry between Richmond Kickers and Harrisburg City Islanders, how much does that kind of mean for you? Does it mean more than being honored on a game against, say, Dayton Dutch Lions?
Yeah, it definitely does. Some of the games against Harrisburg were, some of my favorite rivalry games.
Yeah.
It was definitely one of my favorite places to play. The fans up there were, no matter what you say, they were classy. They
were.
They would give it to you during the game, but they'd have nothing but respect for you afterwards. And that's kind of what makes the game fun and what makes playing the game fun is, they've got the deck behind that one goal and they're standing there having a great time and you're having a great time with them. So, I do miss that part of it. I miss the interaction with the fans. But, Harrisburg's, again, they're another great organization that's been around for a while and they're doing things right. And to be here tonight is, it couldn't have been better.
Yeah.
Well, he played 13 seasons with the Richmond Kickers, as we mentioned, and he's honored tonight, and we are honored to have you in the booth, Ronnie. Great seeing you, buddy.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, guys.
Continued success to you.
Thank you very much.
All right, Ronnie Pascal, as I mentioned, he played in 6 championship finals. 3 times he was voted as the goalkeeper of the year and recognized tonight for his accomplishments with the Kickers organization, and we thank him for being along with us very briefly here in this second half. Of course, you've been watching the action unfold. The Kickers a moment ago, Deli had an opportunity, misheaded the ball, and unfortunately, Mark couldn't get a question, but I know, Mark, you've had the opportunity to cover Ronnie for a number of years, and I know class act when you talk about Ronnie Pascal.
Well, I have to be honest. I'm a little bit biased. Ronnie and I have been friends for a long time, and one of the things I used to do I didn't obviously bring it up while he was in here, but I used to text him during games. I would be up here in the booth, and I would be texting him different observations during the game. So when he went into the locker room after the game, he would see my little comments, and some of them were critical, some of them were making fun of him or another player or something like that. And it was always good to get that interaction.
Right.
He said he would like it when he went to the locker room afterwards, got clean. He said, "Okay, well, what would Bushman have to say tonight?" So those are some of my best interactions with Ronnie. And here we go for Richmond. He's in.
Yep. That's George Davis the fourth with the cross, and almost an own goal, but the ball was flicked over the goal that time by DePrima.
Yeah, but like he said, just sum up one last thing about Ronnie is that he is the definition of somebody who did what people said he couldn't do.
Yep.
And if you're looking for an inspiration, I think Ronnie would be a great motivational speaker. I mean, he was told no his entire life, and he's had such a great career.
Hey, soccer fans, make sure to follow at USL Pro on Twitter for all the latest updates. That's USL on Twitter at USL Pro for all the latest updates on Twitter.
Mark and Mike, I'll tell you, my fondest memory here of playing at City Stadium, not as a home player, but actually as an away player playing for Harrisburg City Islanders. I had played up top, and we had gone down to 10 men. It was Mo Odor who had actually gotten a red card against Mike Burke here at City Stadium. And Ronnie Pascal, no matter what sort of shot I rained down upon him, he was making miraculous saves. And it was one of those moments, no matter what, it was that instinctive moment when I came here. That's what I felt. I felt the emotion of Ronnie Pascal smothering my shots, as odd as that sounds.
Well,
at the time, you hated him more than anybody else on the planet, right? It was one of those type of games.
To be fair, I said, who is this guy? Who is this guy that's in goal there? And I got a little bit to know, obviously, when I came here to Richmond Kickers to play after playing in Rochester Rhinos, I got to know Ronnie, and Ronnie was a quality person, a quality guy. And not only that, was he a great goalkeeper as well?
Yeah, exactly. Mark, we just had our first substitution
we
on
had
the Harrisburg side.
Yeah, we had Jan Ekra. He's coming in number 7. He came in for number 22, Jason Pelletier. So we got a little bit more into that midfield. And I gotta say, the first 15 minutes of this half, I liked what I see from Harrisburg. I think they're a little bit quicker on the ball. They're moving things a little faster. So.
And that's a bit of a strange move from Bill Betcher there as well, because Jason Pelletier is one of those focal points within the Harrisburg City Islanders lineup. He's played almost every single minute. He's captain for the team as well. And it might just be a move that Jason Pelletier plays very defensively, plays more of a holding central midfielder where he maintains possession, and he's looking for Jan Ekra to possibly get forward and break forward just a little bit more and add something offensively to possibly steal some points here at the late going.
And Bercoloni just slipped and fell, and now Harrisburg in possession. And here is Asante trying to avoid some pressure and drops it back to Sasha Goyes. And now he goes back to Yambi. And now Roberts will play it back to Willis in goal. 1-0 is our score. It was a first half goal from Matthew Delicott, and so far it has stood up in this USL Pro matchup between the Kickers, coming into tonight, third place in the USL Pro standings, and Harrisburg, which is down in the standings with just 8 points so far. But coming into tonight, as we mentioned earlier, Harrisburg 2-1-1 in their last 4 league matches. There's a ball for Yaisley, and he couldn't settle that, and he's pretty frustrated he couldn't do anything with it.
Yeah, I thought he would actually try to head that back towards center, and he went for the touch on the ball instead.
Good to see Jason back after that very scary concussion situation. Here's Bouquet on the run. Drops it back now. Zizi plays it over to number 14, DePrima. And George Davis the fourth. I'll tell you, not only is George Davis the fourth a pretty decent offensive player, he's got 7 goals on the season, he's a pretty good defender as well. He does a nice job of coming back and helping out. And now George Davis the fourth getting tangled up with DePrima, getting to know one another.
And that's a necessity that you have to have. If you're going to play for Lee Kalishaw, you have to be a two-way player. You cannot just be a specialist in one area. You need to really work hard, and that's some of those things that Davis has done, I think, very well. And, again, being around guys like Mike Callahan and Luke Vercoloni, who are just such great two-way players and just work so hard every minute in practice and every game, it rubs off on everybody else.
Here's Yambi near midfield playing it to Caskey. He just drops it back to Yambi. And now the ball settled. Nice job by Davis to settle that pass and dribbling and drops it off. There's Caskey taking a look. Ball pushed ahead quickly to Shea Spitz. Spitz has been kind of quiet in the second half. And he loses possession. And Harrisburg now with it. There's the ball. Here is Ekra to Bouquet. And nice defending by George Davis IV. Now the ball rolled off here on the near side to Marquez, number 2. Here's Zizi. Good possession by Harrisburg threatening. Here's Ekra. And Bercoloni got a foot on that. Willis will try to keep it in play. Taps it and did not keep it in play. It'll be a corner kick.
He was looking for McLaughlin in there. Good touch by the Richmond defender. McLaughlin was in there.
And you wonder if Jan Ekra could have actually wound up with his left foot there, if he's just uncomfortable on his left foot, but he had, acres of space on his left side there. He might as well have just kind of wound up and tried to place that back post on Joe Willis.
Here's a corner kick. I believe this is the first one of the second half for either team, or at least for Harrisburg. Ball headed away and then cleared. Asante got a head on it, and Marquez settles. Plays it ahead. Here's Baril, I'm sorry. And the ball is controlled, and George Davis IV kind of gave it away. Here's Zizi. There's Ribeiro in the box, off to Zizi. Boy, Roberts just got his foot on that.
Yeah.
He denied a golden opportunity for Harrisburg, I can guarantee you that. And back comes Spitz. He's on the run. Oh, tried to slip a pass over, but well defended that time. I believe it was number 14, DePrima, that got his foot in the way of that one.
And the referee got wiped out in the process there. And it looks like Juan Arbelayes is going to be coming in shortly. Yeah, he's coming in just a minute.
Here's Ekra in possession. And he lost it to Asante.
Yeah, Richmond a little sluggish here. This first
sloppy.
20 minutes here. Yeah.
Throw in for Zizi. And now the ball played over to Marquez. Back to Baril. Nice ball to McLaughlin. We haven't called his name too much in this second half. He's chasing down Asante. Still running as McLaughlin. Spending a lot of energy on that. Trying to track that ball down. In this humid night that has cooled off considerably, but still. Here's Jambi pushing it ahead to Garez. Sasha taking a look and plays it into the box. Just a
good thought, though.
Yeah.
There's two players, Deli and Garez, who've been playing for a long time. Just off by just a little bit, but they knew exactly what the other wanted to do.
So possession now for Harrisburg. Second half, 1-0 is our score. Mike Neville, Mark Bushman, and Ryan Hines along with you. Here's Marquez. Up to ZZ. Called his name quite a bit in this second half. Here's Ribeiro. Off to Bouquet. Bouquet with 2 goals on the season, the 19-year-old from for Harrisburg. DePrima rolls it over on the far side. Harrisburg trying to build their attack now. Here's Ekra. Here's McLaughlin. He's got some space, but then Caskey catches up to him. Here's Ekra, challenged. Almost lost possession. Here's DePrima now, playing it on the far side. Off to Baril. Baril to DePrima. Here's Bouquet. Off to Ribeiro. He takes a look just outside the box. He's surrounded by kickers, still in possession. And Ribeiro now plays it on the far side. Here's Burrill. Harrisburg getting a little bit of confidence going here. Burrill chases that down.
His best possession, like you said, Mike. His best possession Harrisburg's had all night.
Yeah.
Doing a good job with this.
Number 16, that was Boehner. And Willis. Not sure.
And then they do that.
Absolutely. And when you start to get a whole bunch of different players on the ball, you start to see different opinions, and that's just kind of a rushed cross there. You didn't need to do that. You had too much time on the ball to make that decision, and Harrisburg had done something to try to build something up. They've tested the waters around the top of the box, play it in, play it out, see what we can do to Richmond here, and to settle for a cross like that is kind of a poor decision for the Harrisburg left back.
Soccer fans, Nike is a proud sponsor of USL Pro. You can follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike soccer information. Battle for that 50-50 ball, and Harrisburg comes up with it. Here's Bouquet. Over to Ekra. Here's McLaughlin.
One of the things that Harrisburg's doing differently in the first half when they got the ball usually was with back to goal. What they've done in this half with Bouquet and McLaughlin is they're getting the ball and they're being able to already turn into the defenders and running at them. Here we go with Deli.
Yep, Delicott trying to beat Marquez. He's in possession.
He's not going to win a foot race, obviously.
Right. Nice job of slowing things down and looking for another opportunity. Here's George Davis, the fourth. Rolling it over to Sasha. Torres back to George Davis, the fourth. I think that's Vercoloni at the top of the screen that was all alone, it looked like.
And you know, what he wound up doing was he resisted in going to his right side, cut back to his left, and, you know, obviously Sasha Garris is the one who played him the ball and vacated the space. So George Davis IV had absolutely no support on that side, and he's got to realize that when he cuts back into that area, that was a mistake, and start to bring the ball back across the field.
So Juan Arbelez is going to enter the lineup for Richmond.
And he's going to be coming in for Shea Spitz. A little bit of a quieter night from Spitz than we've seen. A lot of blue-collar work. Hasn't had a whole lot of chances in the offensive end, though.
It is. He's usually a bundle of energy, isn't he, Shea Spitz?
Yeah.
So Juan Silva has entered the Harrisburg lineup. Coming in for Bouquet.
Arbelize, a guy from VCU. He's got the local ties here.
Here's Jaisley, surrounded by Harrisburg players, and somehow flicked it to Marquez. Marquez, I thought he was limping a little bit, but I guess he's okay. Good job by Jaisley to hustle back and cut off Burrill. Here's Silva. Pounds it to the far side. Ooh, boy, that was a...
Wow, good play from Bercoloni to break that up.
If that goes over his head, though, that's... should be an opportunity on goal. Here's Ekra. He fought off one challenge. Ball played wide to Burrill. Burrill to Ekra. Slides it to Silva. Beautiful ball to ZZ. And it'll be a corner kick. You can see Sasha's frustration. That was a nice little combination play right there.
Like I said, Harrisburg is finding a rhythm now. I think they've been much more dangerous this half, and you know, they're really pushing for that equalizer. I would not be surprised if they get something here.
Ball played in the box, but Willis is able to handle that.
You know, the main difference for me here from Harrisburg is the fact of when they go forward, they support each other. And it's just a little bit of confidence knowing that they can hold the ball up just a little bit. Previous to this, what they were doing in the first half is just kind of hitting long ball or hitting hopeless balls and letting one player run onto the ball and not supporting. Now they're actually playing into the forward's feet. He's able to hold the ball up, and they're able to support him. And they're able to get numbers forward. And when you do that, you're not playing as much back to the goal, and you're playing a little bit more in front of the defense and able to get a little bit more possession. The negative about that is now you've got to break down the Richmond kickers, because when you pull the ball back out, you've got 10 to 9 players to break down. And Harrisburg is actually doing that very, very well, where they're able to almost get through the Richmond kickers. It's just that final ball that's not really connecting.
Here's City Islanders now with a free kick opportunity. Down 1-0 here. Second half from City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia. Here is Burrill. Kickers coming into tonight, a 3-0-2 here at City Stadium, so they certainly like the friendly confines. Burrell into the box, and Willis says, I've got that with no pressure.
They've got a heavy home schedule coming up over the next 6 weeks. They're,
I think,
they're at home next Saturday.
Yep,
Then they've got the
Wilmington.
Open Cup game at home. Then they'll play the Mexican Olympic team, I believe, on in July.
July 1st,
home
yep.
game, 3 or 4 home league games, plus the Crystal Palace game. So the confines of City Stadium are going to be very, very comfortable for Richmond over the next 6 weeks or so.
Every weekend in July, they are at home. Every weekend.
I'll be here for most of those.
I'll be here.
What else am I going to do?
I was just going to see. I brought that up because sometimes, with your heavy schedule, you got to check your little black book and make sure that.
Yeah, I tell you, I have the greatest wife in the world because the next 6 weeks, like I said, between Richmond games, World Cup,
Yeah.
I don't think she's going to see a whole lot of me. I don't. How much is Caitlin going to see of you, Ryan?
Well, to be honest, probably a lot.
Oh, boy.
Unfortunately, those World Cup games, a little bit during work hours and that sort of stuff, it's going to make it quite difficult to watch them, to be fair. But I'm a little bit excited that they're down in Brazil, and it's not as bit of a time schedule difference as you had Japan and then South Africa as well.
Yeah.
My friend Brian up in Fredericksburg, his wife had planned a vacation to Disney World or Disney, one of those Disney places in Florida, and last year. And he said, what are you doing? He goes, the World Cup. So they've actually postponed their vacation until the week after the World Cup is done. So that just tells you what soccer fans are, priorities.
Oh, certainly. And to be honest, Caitlin and my wife and I have cut cable. And that makes it very difficult to watch the World Cup.
It
so
does.
we've decided to add cable back this past weekend. And
go.
possibly, obviously for Comcast, they're going to be happy with us for about a month. And then a month after that, they're going to be unhappy with us.
Got to do what you got to do.
That's right.
Here's Bercoloni clearing it for Richmond. And nice job that time by, I believe it was Kasky, and he's still down, I think.
Yeah, he took a hard shot there.
Yep, that's Kasky, and he is holding the leg. And they will check on him.
Well, we got about 15 minutes left here in the game, Mike, and it's not been a great half for Richmond, honestly.
No, it's one of those where Richmond's almost hanging on at this point, and it's, if Harrisburg doesn't score and game's over, you start to say, well, 15, 20, 30 more minutes and Harrisburg may have kind of scored. Now for Richmond, it's they've got to battle back and change that momentum a bit in their favor to be able to kill off the game. If they're not able to do that, it's an unsuccessful game for Richmond to end 1-0 and not have killed this game off appropriately and given Harrisburg so much possession of the ball.
Looks like with Kasky, it might have been a cramp. Hugh Roberts came over to help him out.
And if I'm looking correctly, and I might be, according to the scoreboard, the stats that we have is that Richmond has 1 shot on goal, and it's a goal, obviously, and Harrisburg has 0 shots on goal, which kind of surprising.
Well, that's what about the shot that Willis stopped on the near post?
I'm going by what the scoreboard's telling me.
I'm just in a debate with you. So it'll be a free kick for Richmond. Yeah, Kasky is still stretching out that, but I'm hoping it's just a cramp. But you saw a moment ago. By the way, our great camera crew, Tim and Joey and David, and of course Mike directing us. Tremendous job by these guys. They make us look good, and that's not easy to do. I'm just speaking for myself.
Well, we look good because they don't have to actually show us on camera, so we're okay there.
They want to keep the viewers. Here's the pass on the near side to Sasha.
We'll just have them show Ryan.
Yeah, that'll pump up the viewership.
Sure it would.
Hey, don't forget, every USL Pro regular season and playoff game will stream live on YouTube in this 2014 season. Features include DVR, chat, and social media interactivity. Subscribe for free to the Richmond Kickers YouTube channel today.
And Harrisburg looks to be making a change here. That's a Philadelphia Union player who's warming up, or at least kind of stretching it halfway. That's Christian Hernandez, and it's definitely an offensive substitution. And Bill Betcher trying to, and also Whittleson trying to make an impact here and steal some points in the last 14 minutes of the game.
Which they need, honestly. Like I said, they're sitting on 8 points and have not played great this year. So
yeah,
they need to start getting the point pretty much out of every game.
They're knocking on the door here, and it's just a matter of finding that creative ingenuity that's going to kind of cause that goal and that breakdown in the Richmond defense.
So here comes the substitution, as you mentioned, Hernandez.
He's coming in for Jimmy McLaughlin.
McLaughlin had a lot of action in the first half. Didn't have too many touches here in the second half. And again, Harrisburg is not back in action until the 11th when they return to a U.S. Open Cup play. Or excuse me, no, they'll take on Pittsburgh on the part of a home-and-home series. They'll play Pittsburgh on the 11th and then play at Pittsburgh a week. No, they're at Pittsburgh, then they'll host Pittsburgh a week from today.
Easy for you to say.
You Harrisburg fans know where they're going to be. Why am I telling you? Here's Marquez. Here's Silva. And DePrima rolls it over on the far side. And Ribeiro tried to slide a pass through to Ekra. Here's Silva. He had his shot attempt blocked. And here comes Arbeles. And he'll just drop it off.
And Richmond needs to possess a little bit here. They've been on their heels for a while, chasing this game. They need to possess and get some rest in for these last 10 minutes.
Yeah. Throw in. Arbeles. Had it knocked off his foot, and nice job by Yambi to stop that attack. Here's an opportunity. Hernandez. And, boy, they had Ribeiro surrounded. Here's Gorez. There was just nowhere to put that ball for him.
And you see there's very, very tired legs on the Richmond attack here. They're very lethargic getting forward, and they need to get forward because that's what's going to allow them to keep possession of the ball here. If they're lethargic getting forward, then, essentially it's very, very hard to keep possession, and you've only got one or two guys ahead of the ball.
Yeah, you got a Christian Francois and Tishan Hanley sitting on the bench there, and that's a lot of energy they could bring in there. Just put one or two of them up top and try to get a breakaway or something to kill this game off. Because there's definitely a lot of speed and athleticism there, and I think that's what Richmond's lacking right now. They don't seem to be able to create any space for themselves.
Yambi playing it back to Willis in goal. Willis with a long kick. Floated over Delicat's head. There's George Davis the fourth. Off to Yisley, right back to him. And then Davis almost lost possession, but here's Jason Yisley now. Here's Gorez, quick into the box. And that ball for Yisley, excuse me. Gorez with a very quick entry into the middle of the box.
Once again, he just shows that he's lethal with those crosses. I mean, it was just pretty much spot on there.
Very much so, and that's something that caught the Harrisburg City Islanders defense by surprise because it's been very, very lethargic. It's been, a couple touches on the ball by the Richmond Kickers, and as you're seeing here, almost dwelling on the ball. For Sasha Garris to whip that in first time, it was very, very unexpected from, the defenders and from the crowd as well.
That was a great challenge by Sasha to get that ball back for Richmond after Arbeles had coughed it up. Here's Asante, off to Kasky, back to Asante. And he'll play it over to Yambi, quickly being harassed, but he'll play it back to Willis. That was Burrill that was chasing Yambi down, but Yambi cool, calm, and collected. Here's Ekra. He's got some space. Gave a pretty good shoulder. There's a shot, and it goes over the goal.
And there's Jan Ekra actually deciding to take a shot. Obviously we're in the 80th minute here, and he's decided to finally do it, where he had an opportunity early in the beginning And what he decided to do was just a little chip or a clip into the box when he should have done that, gosh, maybe 20 minutes ago or so. He was at the top of the box.
I know one thing. He buried Asante with that shoulder.
He did, and that's exactly what the Harrisburg City Islanders are about. You know,
Right.
kind of grinding it out and just making sure that they're battling. And they battle, you know, obviously we talk about Charlotte Eagles battling as well. Harrisburg City Islanders are another one of the teams that have been in this league for ages and have always battled.
There's Burrell.
And it looks like number 9, Tashan Hanley, is coming in. I believe Shane Johnson's getting ready to come in, too. So we'll have a double sub coming in for Richmond. Try and kill this game off going into the 83rd minute.
Here's Ekra rolling it back now. DePrima plays it over to Hernandez. He gets the return pass. And they find Ribeiro. He chips it for Ekra. Good defense that time. Was that Vercoloni that was with him step for step?
I think so.
Did a nice job of shielding him away from the ball and letting Willis collect it. And the ball is played right to Harrisburg. You see Arbalez's reaction. Ball played ahead, dropped off to Burrell. And here is Hernandez getting a shot on goal, but Willis handles that with ease. Or excuse me, that was Silva. Willis distributing it to Vercoloni. Here's George Davis the fourth, and he lost possession.
Keep losing the ball in their third of the
Yep.
field. They're going to pay.
Here's Hernandez to Ekra. Ball played back to Hernandez. And here's an opportunity. Silva. Here's Ribeiro inside the box, but Roberts. And Roberts just banged it off the referee. The referee's going to stop playing.
I think for a foul there.
You can see how crafty Luis Silva is as well. You know, when he's got the ball in and around the box, he's juking, jiving. He's got little fake body fakes, little foot fakes. If I'm him, I'm getting inside of the box, inside of the 18. Whether or not I do one of those jukes or jives and the defender comes diving in to win the ball, you know what? I'm going to try to draw the foul as much as I possibly can. And that's something that the Harrisburg City Islanders haven't really tried to do, is put the ball into the box on the ground, see what we can do, see if we can draw a foul. And, you know, that could be an easy escape here for the Harrisburg City Islanders.
Yeah. Had a sub for Harrisburg, Garrett Pettis, number 9.
Yep.
Coming in for number 14, Danny DePrima. So that's Pettis for DePrima. And we've got for Richmond, Shane Johnson, number 3, coming in for Matthew Delicott. And Deshaun Hanley coming in for Jason Yeisley. So good work from Deli and Yeisley. A couple of guys who, not necessarily great speed, but good target players. And we've always wondered, Brian, how that works, having two essentially target players. But Yeisley seems to be maybe a little bit more comfortable playing in as that almost coming out of the midfield right now.
He is, and to be honest, you know, that's not a position that's the most comfortable for him. He hasn't played that before coming to the Richmond Kickers, but Lee Kalishaw has a tendency to want to use Jason Yeisley on the outside wide. You know, obviously what he's going to get from one player, whether or not they're playing wide midfielder and working both ways, Jason Yeisley has a tendency to work back. But what Lee Kalishaw has a tendency to see within Jason Yeisley is he's not an outside midfielder. He's an outside winger.
Gotcha.
So he's adding a little bit more to the attack. But sure, you know, Jason Yeisley is obviously adding something to the offense as well.
Here's Hanley trying to track down that ball. And that ball will roll over the end line. That'll be a goal kick.
Yeah, but that was good from Hanley. Kind of held the ball up a little bit and probably took another 20, 30 seconds off
Yeah,
by not allowing the defender to turn and put that back into play.
Yeah, he was challenging Matt Boehner, and he, like you said, Mark, did a nice job of pressing. Here's ZZ now. Off to Burrell. Here's Silva. Back to Burrell. Burrell being watched. Here's Ekra. And Yambi got a foot on it. There's an opportunity, turning and shooting it over the goal.
It's not bad. I think that's Pettis' first touch, and he gets a shot. That doesn't miss by a whole heck of a lot.
So Willis with the goal kick.
And he's going to take as much time as he wants to set that ball down. He's going to talk to some players further up the field, tell them what he wants, and obviously he's kind of milking the clock here at this point.
So Willis with the goal kick. Trying to hook up with Hanley. Here's Gorez. Sasha's still going. He's played the entire contest. Here's Arbeles to George Davis IV. Bercoloni, Gorez. Boy, very quick. I like the decision-making Gorez has done tonight with the quick crosses. And I think, like you said, Mark, that's caught Harrisburg off guard a little bit. He doesn't stay on his foot too long. Here's Marquez to Zizi. Ball played now over Silva. Looking long, Shane Johnson in a foot race with Pettis. And that ball will be a throw-in for Richmond. Shane Johnson with a throw-in, 1-0. Kickers on top, winding down this second half. Matthew Delicat's 7th goal of the season right now is the difference. Hanley turned his back, and that went off his back. Silva now to Ribeiro. Ribeiro's got some opportunity, but he's surrounded. Here's Hernandez with a shot that just scoots wide. And Willis with the goal kick. Kickers right back in action a week from tonight here at City Stadium. They will entertain Wilmington. And if the Kickers hold on and pick up a victory or even a draw, it'll run their unbeaten streak in league play to 10 in a row. Here's Hanley trying to settle.
Great steal from Juan Arbeles there.
Here's Hanley. Battling, still in possession. Down he went, and there's the whistle. And Ryan, you mentioned that one of these teams are going to have a great opportunity outside the box. Well, here's Richmond's opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. And I wouldn't be surprised if Richmond either decides to play this far wide over by the linesman on the far side and kind of milk some time off the clock here. And,
you got to have a shot, Ryan. Come on, man.
You think?
Look where you are. Look at this. This has got Garras written all over it.
I mean, you think so. If you had somebody who could hit a dipping free kick like Ryan Hines, it's a possibility. But
there it is.
You've been waiting all season for me to bring myself up, haven't you? Third person.
Well, we already had to mention I used to play for Harrisburg City Islanders things.
There's Davis, and he takes it right into the wall. Remember, he scored on a free kick the last. There's a shot. Ooh! Noble with a terrific save on the follow-up.
Wow, that came out of nowhere. Great play by Vercoloni.
And Marquez, here's Shane Johnson playing it back to Yambi. He's got some pressure on him, and he'll calmly drop it back to Willis in goal. Best save of the night for Noble, that's for sure.
Yep.
Here's Johnson. The clearing attempt is...
But, one of those things is what we love about Tishan Hanley is that he scores goals and he draws fouls. He might not get a whole lot of playing time, but when he does, he's a very impactful player. He's just another definition of a good signing from Coach Kalishaw.
Marquez under pressure, and he's able to nudge it over to Noble in goal.
Coming into the 90th minute, and there are only 2 minutes of stoppage time.
As the ball played wide, Harrisburg has got to play with a little urgency now. Ball played ahead. Vercoloni, boy, he has been solid. And here's Arbeles. Off to Kasky. Here's Vercoloni. Oh, nice ball to Kasky. Harrisburg thought he was going to go with the long cross, but he just gently nudged it between two defenders. But unfortunately for Richmond, Harrisburg now in possession.
And this is one of those now where Richmond needs to get the ball and just kind of put it in the corner and try to milk this clock.
There's Pettis playing it back now. To Silva. Silva was able to avoid Arbeles. And a good ball to Zizi. Zizi with the cross. And Willis is going to make a quick beeline off of his line and scoop it up. Here's a look at that follow-up shot after the free kick. And Vercoloni and boy, Noble, I think, just saw it at the last minute. There's Johnson. Plays it ahead for Hanley. It skipped past Hanley and Davis. There's Noble. And he knows he needs to get rid of it in a hurry.
He's pushing up probably less than a minute left right now. This could be Harrisburg's last chance.
Ball played ahead on the far side. I believe that's Hernandez. Good ball to Pettis. Here's Hernandez inside the Richmond box. Down he went. No. Do we get we got a yellow card. Looks like it's going to be displayed. Is that for embellishing?
I believe so.
It looks like it's a little bit of simulation there, absolutely. And it looks like he was trying to draw a penalty or kind of fool the referee into a penalty. At least the referee perceived it that way.
Well, the Harrisburg coaching staff is not really complaining. So here's Willis. And Noble. Looking to get rid of it quickly. Knowing that time is running down. And Yambi with a strong header. And that is it. So make it 10. It's a 10-game unbeaten streak now for the Richmond Kickers. They get a valuable 3 points. Wasn't the most artistic second half for Richmond, but they do come away with a 1-0 victory on Matthew Delicat's first half goal, and it came early in the contest.
Winning ugly is still winning, Michael.
That's right.
It was not a very good half, honestly. I don't think Lee Kalishaw would argue with us very much, and I don't know if a lot of the players would. But, at the same time, they, like I said, you get the 3 points at home, you keep the unbeaten streak going, you stay in the top 3 of the table. And, Harrisburg's got, as I said earlier, Harrisburg's got a huge series with Pittsburgh coming up. I think it's going to decide the season already for one of those teams. They're going to need to get at least 4 points out of that series. And I think we're going to have a guest here shortly.
Yep.
Coming up.
Yep. Ryan, real quick, your thoughts about this victory? The Kickers now pick up 26 points in the USL Pro standings.
It was productive from the Kickers' point of view, but it wasn't efficient. They really didn't do that well. I can't say they didn't deserve 3 points because they did what they needed to do in the first half. But second half was miserable from the Kickers' point of view. They let Harrisburg dictate the game. From the Harrisburg City Islanders' point of view, it was a bit disappointing. They gave up an early goal there and dictated the game in the second half, and it's exactly what they need not to do moving forward throughout the season.
So it's a 1-0 victory, and we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back, and I believe we're going to get somebody, I think Matthew Delicat may be coming up here to the booth. We'll get a quick comment from him. So 1-0 the final. Back with our post-game report. You're watching Richmond Kickers Soccer on YouTube. And welcome back. City Stadium, Richmond, Virginia, where the Richmond Kickers remain unbeaten on the season with the 1-0 victory tonight as the Kickers improved, I believe, 4-0-2 here at City Stadium with the 1-0 victory over Harrisburg. Again, Matthew Delicat's goal was the difference in the contest. And here it is. It came early in the first half. Deli with a beautiful header off a tremendous cross from veteran Sasha Gores to finish it off 1-0. Yeah, Kickers improved to 4-0-2. Watch again the placement of this ball, Mark, to Delicat. And just floats over the head of number 16 for Harrisburg. And he calmly puts it into the back of the net. And I know he's been a goal scorer in his career here at Richmond, but this has got to be a very pleasant surprise for Lee with Matthew Delicat getting his 7th goal of the season.
Yeah, I think so, and I believe he is coming into the booth now. We're gonna chat with Deli. Deli, put on the headset there so we can grill you a little bit about the game.
So Matthew Delicott joining us now. Let's get his mic turned up here. Hey, Deli, first of all, congratulations. Beautiful job. And, I think we're going to get the highlight queued up on it. What a great cross Sasha put right on your head.
Yeah, he did. Great ball. That's what Sasha's done for many, many years. And I'm one of the lucky guys that gets on the end of them, I guess. So.
Well, I tell you, when we saw that play, I was watching 2005 or 2006 all over again. I mean, you guys have played together for so long, off and on over the years. So, I mean, it's kind of like, like I said, you guys know each other pretty well. You knew he was going to put that ball in there. I mean, you've done it a zillion times in practice and everything, right?
Yeah, I mean, we want to get possession in the attacking half, and when we get wide, it's my job to be in the box and hope for good service. And some games you get several chances, and today I only really had one or two, so I was lucky I got the goal.
Deli, when that ball's in the air, and are you know where exactly you're going to go with the ball? Because the goalie, of course, his momentum is carrying to one side. You, of course, headed it the other way. Is that something that you knew right away you were going to go to that side when that ball was in the air?
Yeah, typically, depending on where I am in the goal, if I'm at the back post, I may try and head it back across the goal.
Right.
Sometimes when you make runs to the near post, you're just trying to glance it in. So that was one that you're just trying to hit back across.
1-0, you guys, of course, up on that goal at halftime. Thought you played very well in the first half, had good possession, probably could have, there was a couple opportunities. You might have been up 2 or 3-0. Second half looked like Harrisburg was a little bit more aggressive. And you guys, what was the difference between the first half and the second half? Because it looked like Harrisburg had a little bit more possession in the second half.
Yeah, we probably conceded a little bit more space in the second half and dropped off. Obviously, the more compact we are, the tougher we are to break down. So even though they did get a lot more possession, it wasn't necessarily possession that was hurting us. So we were happy just dropping off and looking to counter at that point to try and get the second goal.
Right.
Let me ask you. Obviously, I don't want to bring up your age, but you're a veteran, Deli. We know that. I've known you for a while. Talk about it always seems like coming into the season, you kind of sign late. Maybe takes a couple games to get going. This year, literally from game one, you've just been on fire. You've already got 7 goals, I believe, on the year. From a motivational standpoint, I mean, does it take you a while to get going at this age? Were you ready to go as soon as the season started? I mean, you just seem to be, like I said, on fire from the very first game.
Yeah, I think once your career's winding down a little bit, you kind of have that hunger to work hard and do well, because your time is limited on the field now. So last year was a little bit different because I had a pretty lengthy layoff, maybe 12 months off.
Here's the goal. Real quick, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but there's the goal. And, boy, you beautifully placed, I'll tell you. Just unbelievable the way that – here it is. And, again, Sasha sees you, and here it is. I guess once that went over the Harrisburg defender's head, you pretty much knew that it was coming. You had a chance.
Yeah, as soon as he hit it, I knew it was coming to me. So, I just wanted to make a clean contact on it and get it on frame. And the keeper was close to it, but luckily it snuck in. So,
well, you got 3 points tonight. Maybe the second half wasn't the prettiest, but they don't count style points. It's 3 points. You guys are in second. Well, you moved ahead of Los Angeles into second place, we think, anyways, with the victory. Listen, congratulations, continued success to you.
Thanks very much.
All right, there's Matthew Delicott, the goal scorer this evening. You've seen a tremendous goal, and his 7th of the season as Richmond again wins it. 1-0 is the final, and we thank Matthew Delicott coming up and joining us here in the booth. So,
we had
Mark,
all kinds of stars today. We had Pascal, we had Ryan Hines, the former Harrisburg. Yeah, okay.
Well, we'll be back with you again a week from tonight right here at City Stadium. The Kickers will take on Wilmington. For Mark Bushman, Ryan Hines, and our entire production crew, I'm Mike Neville. Thank you for watching Richmond Kickers Soccer on YouTube. Once again, the final, Richmond 1, Harrisburg 0. Have a great night, everybody.